Hey guys, my name is Devi Kaur, and I am here in Zipolite in Mexico, and in this beautiful, beautiful area. Look at this, isn't that incredible? Paradise. And I was fortunate enough to be walking in the street here and bumped into the one and only Max Egan, and he's agreed to sit and have a little chat with me. So let's go and meet him. It's kind of exciting, right? So, hi Max.
Nice to see you, Debbie.
Yeah, you too.
How are you?
I'm good.
Cool, cool.
I'm good.
Beautiful day in paradise.
Absolutely. Very fortunate to be here. And as many of you know, I've been following Max on Telegram and watching him and picking up on the information on what's going on basically on the planet, on the globe, and keeping myself updated with stuff. And I was fortunate enough to bump into him in the street here in Zipolite in Mexico. And he's agreed to come and have a chat with me, which is wonderful. Yeah. And so many of you have sent questions in for Max, and I'm going to fire out some questions to you, darling, in no particular order. And
Let's see where we go.
Let's see where we go
it's
with
always
it.
Fun.
Yeah. So, right.
What sort of audience am I speaking to?
So, like many of the people that are tuning into this are from my YouTube channel, and it's mainly for Kundalini Yoga.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I've got some wonderful questions, here for you, Max, and
Far away.
I'm going to go through them in no particular order. Actually, I just want to say one thing. One of the things that I came up when I was talking to some people was about like super shills and about gaslighting. And one of the things that came up about you was about, it was almost like, Max Egan, it's like, doom and gloom. This is coming up a lot. But I just want to say something because, for me, it's like I receive your message as like a freaking kick up the backside and I need to get myself sorted. Do you know what I mean? As kind of like, not to become complacent, not to think that, everything's going to be okay and to sit and do nothing, but to actually, take action towards preparing myself, perhaps. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like preparation. Rather than having absolutely no preparation at all. And so, for me, I personally find your talks, your sharings, your information very useful for knowing what's going on. And I would be interested to know also, as well as others, it's like, your resources. You've been spot on about so many things. And how do you do that? Like how?
A lot of it really is like a form of gnosis. Really, I mean, when you look at everything, when I read the white papers that come out of MIT, and I read a lot of mainstream stuff, and like 10 or 15 years ago, I could see exactly where they were taking us, and that's when you can see what the end goal is, which is complete totalitarianism. They want everybody tracked and traced, everything that you do. They want to be able to monitor your body, every organ of your body, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, everything. They've talked about this in all their white papers. That's the end goal. Then you can see the steps as they happen. Realizing that everything's related. I've been saying to people, you've got to stop thinking of the world as competing governments and think of it as one big holding company with different department stores called countries and CEOs of those department stores, and they all work together. But the people within those countries think they're living in this enclosed system and they got their own laws and it's all interrelated.
Yeah.
And it's all leading towards the same place, which is transhumanism and complete control of the species. And my first 4 or 5 years on air was all spiritual. It was all inner work. It was all Kundalini yoga stuff. It was all, well, not Kundalini yoga, I didn't talk about yoga, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It was all about the inner work and all this stuff. I did everything I could to try to prevent the train from ever reaching the station, but now this train it's here now.
Yeah.
So the world is going where it's going to go. So now you've got to look at it from a new tactic and take a new approach. If you haven't done the inner work now, well, now's the time to do it. You better start doing this inner work, which is what I think this place calls people in, here in Zipolite. That's what people are called in to do here.
Yeah.
But you've got to see what's happening now. I mean, so many people have taken the jab, so much, it's going to go its natural course now. So things are going to change.
Yeah.
And you've got to find a way of getting through that change and coming out the other side okay. That's what I'm encouraging people to do. All I've ever really encouraged people to do is ask questions on the show. Just look at what's going on around you and ask yourself, is this normal? Because it isn't.
Yeah.
You know? And so what we've got at the moment, the system is going to go so smart, and soon the way they're going with these vaccine passports and this contact tracing and health passports, they're calling them now, not vaccine passports, health passports. Now you've become sick until proven healthy. And if you haven't had a vaccine, then you're not healthy. So everything's been turned backwards. Soon you're going to need government ID. There'll be some event happen, the internet will shut down, these hackers or whatever. And you're going to need government ID in order to log online. You're going to need your jab in order to get your government ID.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So you've got to be prepared to completely step outside of the system.
Sure.
Forget about the internet, get back in touch with what it means to be human. And that's what's happening here. If you can't get back in touch with your life skills and learn to live even like the Amish, then you're going to get sucked into that system, and it's going to go its natural course. And you can really look at this as a form of soul purification, because humanity in general as a whole has become so spiritually bankrupt that this event that we're seeing unfold has to happen.
Yeah, sure.
It has to happen to clean out I mean, I love people, but unfortunately there's a lot of stupid people out there that are doing a lot of bad things, which is why the world is in the state that it's in. So how do you get through that? How do you purify that essence?
Yeah.
You give them the choice to either become human and step outside of this technology, because you don't need it. It wasn't there a while ago. You used to know how to be human.
Yeah.
Either leave that aside or come with us and commit
Yeah.
suicide. Take the jab and let us control you, and that's the way it's going to
I
be.
mean, you know, and that really rings home to me, because, you know, I can still remember, because I did grow up in a time when we didn't have mobile phones, and, you know, I remember when we first got the TV, do you know what I'm saying? And so there wasn't that technology there, and we were fine, and we managed, right? We
And you can look at what I'm saying as doom and gloom, but really this is a huge opportunity for you to reconnect with yourself and do this inner work and become human again, and put all that aside. Put all of that aside. This is a time of huge enlightenment and a huge evolution of human consciousness that is possible through this. And you cannot have that without the shadow, without the dark. The problem is people are too afraid to face the shadow, which is why the shadow is so huge in the world. No one's done the inner work. You know, so that's what this is about. Face it. And if I upset people with what I say, and it causes them to look at that darkness, well, good. Good.
Absolutely.
You need to, because that's what this experience is about. Because you can't have the choice to choose good without the shadow and the darkness being there.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely spot on. And actually, it kind of like leads me to the next question, because you've kind of like tapped into it a bit. So the next thing is about, if you like, this 3D chess game that's being played out. So, you know, there are 3 points that are coming under, if you like, this particular question of this 3D chess game. And the first one is cyber polygon, taken off the WEF pages last week. The rumors of like Russia, the internet going down, 24 hours, I believe it went down in Israel. So there's that. I mean, which you've kind of like just touched on about sort of like the cyber attacks. So do you think that this is going to happen?
Yes.
Okay.
They've been preparing us for, like you say, the shutdown in Israel, the shutdown in Russia. There was a shutdown in Australia with the floods in Australia. 40,000 people are homeless. The whole area is shut down, the internet.
Yes.
But they won't do it as a natural disaster thing. The manufactured war between Ukraine, which the timing is perfect. Anyone who thinks Putin is a player isn't a player. I mean, look at the timing of this so-called war, which isn't even a war. This has been done at exactly the right time. But there'll be something like that. It's Russian hackers or Chinese hackers or some hackers or some sympathizer, you know. And so we need ID to get you back online.
Yeah.
Again, just have to get your ID. Oh yeah, here's your government ID. Of course, you're fully vaxxed, of course, to get your ID, aren't you? You know? So if all your bank accounts and all this stuff, even if you're a cryptocurrency person, if it's all online, and you cannot log online without a government-approved ID, how are you going to get your crypto?
Yeah.
So this is the danger of everything going digital, you know, and that's always been the goal, which has been the goal ever since the invention of television. And this is stuff that I've been predicting. All the stuff they're doing now, I did a film in 2012 called Transformation, where I talked about all of this stuff, where they're taking us. And it's all gone like clockwork.
Okay.
Because like I said, when you can see the end goal, you know what that is. So that, like I said, that gives you the choice. Do you want to be part of that smart system? Because once they put this injection into you, and there's even talk now of the Internet of Things, which is everything's going to be barcoded. Like every single thing you buy will be barcoded, and it'll all be tracked and traced. Now they're talking about the Internet of Bodies, the intra-body nano network. And we've seen all of the nanotechnology in the jabs. Once they get this into you and they get 5G in place, and 5G is just the 5th generation of communication. That's all 5G means, 5th generation.
Yeah.
People think 5G is this evil thing. It's 5G, 6G, 7G, whatever that's going to be. 6G is the Internet of Bodies. And the 5G signal is a millimeter wave. That's the important thing. It's the millimeter wave. And the speed will be phenomenal. But you're not going to notice a difference. With what we've got now, you're not even going to notice a difference. It's not for you, it's for AI.
Yeah.
So the AI, once this nanotech's in you, they can monitor every single organ in your body. They can monitor what you're thinking. If they want to target you, they can target you specifically with particular organs or whatever, give you kidney failure in the mall, whatever.
Yeah.
They can do, it's total control of humankind, what they're doing with this system. And all you've got to do is read their own white papers.
Right.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And people come to places like this because they think, oh, you know, you're being negative and, you know, it's not part of my reality.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist here. I'm going to come here and do the spiritual growth. Well, that's great. Come here and do the spiritual growth. But don't ignore that world, because that world is dragging the reason you even want to come here and get away, because that society is running off a cliff and it's dragging the whole world and human race with it. And this is still part of the whole world. You can't escape this. And you can't just come here and do the spiritual growth if you're not really prepared to step completely outside of the system. This is a good transitional place for that. Because you've got bugger all internet and, you know, I'm kind of, I've been forced to take, you know, two weeks off, unplugged for 2 weeks just by being here, which is the first time I've done that in 20 years. And it's actually been incredibly healing for me to do that. And
interesting, you know, because me too, there's some kind of like something going on here. So, you know, as most of you guys know, I came here with the intention of teaching and doing a lot of stuff, and I just had to unplug from everything also and go inside.
This place teaches you.
Yeah.
You don't teach much here. It teaches you.
Yeah. So it's been beautiful.
When you try to teach stuff here, you find that you're learning from it.
Yeah. Totally.
It's interesting.
And so the other one that we've got under the 3D chess game is like the CBDCs, the financial crash, BlackRock, Vanguard market. Can you shed a bit of light on that?
BlackRock and Vanguard own everything.
Okay.
They own everything. They own the companies that own the companies that own the companies. These are basically investment. I mean, Vanguard is a big investment holding company, basically. And you find Vanguard controls all of the airlines that you think are competing. You find ultimately Vanguard controls both Coke and Pepsi, both Cadbury and Nestle. Vanguard controls the airline companies. It controls the factories that make the airlines. It controls the mining companies that pull the minerals out of the ground to smelt into airlines, and it also owns the smelting companies. It owns both Woolworths and Coles, ultimately through the chain. It owns everything, okay? And what Vanguard and BlackRock are doing now is they are buying up housing estates. When people go in and create a new housing estate for new homes, for new families, and they might be, say they're $1 million homes, for example, just to pick a number, $1 million for the home. Vanguard will come along and offer them $1.5 million for the home and buy the entire estate, because it's turning the entire world into rentals. You will own nothing and you will be happy. This is what BlackRock and Vanguard are doing. You can think of this. BlackRock and Vanguard are like a holding company contain the entire Earth, every seed, everything. It'll all be under their control because the shareholders of that, blah, blah, blah. It all goes back to the same people always. Then you've got operations like this COVID operation. And I kind of look at this as like you're creating a movie. It's like when you create a movie, I looked at a film called Pitch Black, for example. When that film, that was created by Warner Brothers, but it was actually a subsidiary company called Platinum Pictures, which was created just for the film to run that operation. So that's kind of what the World Economic Forum is. It's like Platinum Pictures, which is running the COVID movie, and the whole smart grid movie and the pandemic movie and the cyber polygon movie, all part of the same movie. But that's just like, you look at Klaus Schwab and think he's this evil dictator. He's just the CEO of that particular company that is running that particular operation, the pandemic thing, which is all related back to just eliminating all possessions, destroying the middle class, getting everybody on a universal basic income, getting everybody out of the country zones and into the city zones, and just getting it all happening, you know. And then it'll all be run by BlackRock and Vanguard. It's all related. The whole thing's related. Even when you look at China, I mean, China kind of westernized itself and became like almost a capitalist communist state, if you will, whatever you want to call that. I mean, the capitalism in China now, the billionaires that have been growing in China is phenomenal. So it's capitalist plus it's communist. It's a weird scenario, but that's the system that they want for the whole world. And they've been refining it and incubating it in China. But ultimately, China is run by the same banking cartels that run everything else because the world's run by money. Yeah. You know, that's the energy. That's what they call it currency. That's the electricity that holds it all together. You know, and all they've got to do is shut that down. And people don't know how to operate without this stuff because they don't know what it means to be human. Yeah. You know?
So that the financial crash and like CBDCs,
they will do it. It will happen. It has to. But it's going to encompass everything. And like I said, the crypto guys, crypto will make it through for a while. Yeah. But you look at what the internet's becoming. The internet, our relationship with the internet is going to change very soon. Within the next probably 3 to 4 years, I would say probably by 2025, our relationship with the internet is going to change. Okay. And you need to get all of your digital assets turned into hard, real-world assets, land to live on, food that you can live on, so that you can just step outside and watch the freak show unfold. You know, really, that's going to be the only way to get through it. Right. Okay. Unless we stop it. Okay. Which we may. Yeah. You know, I mean, okay. You know, we may. Yeah. But even if we do, like I say, even if we do, they've got so many aces up their sleeve and so many people had the jab now. The things have kind of got to run their natural course. Okay. You know, even if we stop it. Even if we stop it, yeah. Okay, so this leads me to the next thing, talking about the jabs, right? And this came from a good friend of mine, AIDS pandemic, the next pandemic. The AIDS pandemic? AIDS, yeah. AIDS, new vaccine, protocols of testing. Yeah, they're calling it VAIDS, vaccine, auto-enhanced, whatever AIDS stands for. Yeah. What does it stand for? Autoimmune deficiency syndrome. Yeah. Now they're calling it vaccine autoimmune deficiency syndrome, so VAIDS they're calling it. Yeah. Quite possible. I mean, these pandemics are just going to keep going. Variants and new variants of variants and whatever. I mean, they'll just keep going. Now they've got people doing this and believing this, and they've been able to get away with it to the extent they have. They'll call it. I mean, I don't believe in AIDS. It was all manufactured. It was all bullshit manufactured by Fauci. Yeah. People's immune systems were down because of the lifestyle they lived. Mm-hmm. And then so they identified, you've got this HIV thing, which we think is this, so we think that's a deadly thing, so we're going to give you these drugs. And it was the drugs that killed them, of AIDS-like symptoms. Yeah. You find that about 60% of the world's HIV positive. It doesn't mean anything. Yeah. It doesn't lead to AIDS. It doesn't mean anything. Yeah. You know, it's just another thing they've used, like a PCR test, which isn't a test. You know, and it was run by Fauci. Same thing, same scenario. So yeah, I don't believe the commonly accepted germ theory. I think a lot of people have had a crash course in germ theory versus terrain theory and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. While this pandemic's been going. Yeah. So I don't buy in. I mean, and honestly, with the lifestyle I've lived in rock bands and some of the shit I did when I was a kid, if viruses and bacteria and stuff are really this deadly, I should have died a long time ago. Uh-huh. So. Yeah. 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 Okay. Okay. Geoengineering. Geoengineering. Yeah. Geoengineering. All tied into the same thing. Nanotech that they're spraying in the geoengineering. again, in my film Transformation, if you look at a film that came out by a man called Ray Kurzweil back around about 2008 or 2010 called Transcendent Man,
Right.
where he talked about how they want to create the human singularity. They want everything infused with nanotechnology. He said soon everything will be infused, rocks, plants, trees, everything. And we'll create this singularity. And we'll send artificially intelligent nanoparticles out into space to find more intelligence that we can harness to add to our own intelligence. Turning human beings into the Borg, basically, to go and assimilate the universe, right?
Right.
That's his plan.
Yeah.
And I said then, well, okay, so they're going to turn the rocks, the trees, everything will be infused with nanotechnology. If you're going to do that, what would be the medium? Chemtrails, of course. You know, with the chemtrails, these are multi-platform delivery system. You can deliver nanotech to everything, turn everything smart. You can deliver nanotech to people through the air they're breathing.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff we found in there, barium, strontium, magnesium, things like this, which are the same ingredients they use in sparklers, in fireworks
Right.
displays.
Okay.
And so this coats the ground. After years and years of coming down and then getting rained on and coating the leaves, and then the leaves fall off and become mulch, then you have a fire come through.
Right.
And the whole forest is incendiary, full of That's why we saw such brutal fires in Australia a couple of years ago,
Okay.
and those fires in California.
Yeah.
I mean, some of those fires in California really looked like they were directed energy weapons because the houses are uniform white ash, and none of the trees are burned. This is supposed to be forest fires. What's going on here? But the ones in Australia, some of the experiences that I heard related to me from those fires, this was because the whole forest was saturated with 10 years spraying of incendiary dust, not to mention the nanotech and everything else. So these are multi-platform delivery systems. They block out the sun. I mean, look at the colour of the sky.
Yeah.
It's not blue anymore. And the further you look down the horizon, it gets that whitey colour.
Sure.
Nobody notices.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Nobody notices. You know, the sky isn't blue anymore. I've seen places inland in Mexico where it's the skies are blue. But and even up further in Acapulco, there's blue skies. But down here, I'm not seeing blue skies. Maybe we're getting closer to the South America, and so yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So. Okay.
Sorry, it's hard to keep short answers with all this.
No. This is great actually. Okay. What about this? The 31st of March. This is another question. 31st of March. You know, the bill giving like the WHO control over all UN countries.
Oh yeah, the Pandemic Preparedness Act. Yeah, the treaty, Pandemic Preparedness Treaty.
What is this?
Yeah, this is a treaty that was put out by the European Union, basically. It's the WHO, it's the WHO, yeah.
Yeah.
I was warning people about this for weeks before they signed it. So this is what a lot of this stuff in Ukraine's all about, because they're signing this treaty. And this will enable them to declare a pandemic, and every signing country will go into lockstep. So if someone like Dan Andrews in Australia decides that's what he wants to do to Melbourne, well, it will be on the recommendations of the WHO.
Yeah.
And I'll be looking at it and going, well, gee, there was such a low rate of viruses in Melbourne, maybe that's the way to do it. Things work so well in Canada, then maybe that's the way to do it. So, and look how well China did well, by having those little cubicles that they're putting people in and all that shit. In China, they're driving around and just the cops would walk in here and say, test. They just test you, and if you get tested, they take off and put you into a little cubicle. You've got a little hole to put your face out, and you're there for 2 weeks.
Oh my God!
It's just so. Once this is in place, and everybody is signed to it. All signatory nations are going same lockstep, same scenario. This is medical martial law on a worldwide scale to every signatory country. This is what I've been saying. There's a lot of what all this distraction of this. I mean, look what's going on over here, guys. That war is not even real.
Yeah.
Look what these guys are doing over here. And if they're at war with each other, how come they're all signing onto this treaty together? How come they all meet in the United Nations together and they go and talk about shit and they say, oh yeah, well, we're going to go to war now, because we decided to at the meeting. Who wants to play the enemy this week? How can we get the people this time? And when the governments go to war, they don't go and bomb each government. They've been trying to kill Assad for years. They don't like Assad in Syria, so they turn Aleppo to rubble, turn Palmyra to rubble, turn Syria to rubble. Not one bomb on Assad's palace yet. I thought he was the bad guy you wanted to get rid of.
Yeah.
How come in World War II, when Germany and England went to war, they turned Germany and Dresden to rubble, Berlin and Dresden to rubble, London to rubble, not one bomb on the Reichstag, not one bomb on number 10 Downing Street, nothing on Buckingham Palace. You really think this is a war? Seriously? No, they will bomb all you guys, so you think we're at a war. Depopulate the place, gets the economy working just fine. Then we've all got to borrow the money off the bankers, the same bankers we borrowed money for the war from. We've got to borrow money off them to rebuild the country now. It all works perfectly fine like clockwork. Managed to depopulate the country, keep the peasants down. It's a scam. I've been saying this since I was a kid. Every single war is based on bullshit. All of it. It's a scam. A lot of it. And the thing is, I mean, people might say I'm doom and gloom, but the thing is, if people realise just how much they're being played, and that the people that are doing this are just people, just like you. Why do you believe they have any control over you? If people really had that epiphany, we could change the world in a single day. And if we don't, well, they're just going to do what they do. Because the reason criminals rule the world is because of people's failure to pay attention to politics. Oh, not my reality. Well, where do you live? It's part of your reality. Oh, no, it isn't really. Do you pay to be alive? It's part of your reality. You know?
Head in the sand, basically, right?
Head in the sand.
Head in the sand, and like cognitive dissonance, denial.
It'd be so easy to change the world into something so beautiful. So really like that. If everyone in the world refused to comply with wrong behaviour, refused to step outside your moral compass, do a random act of kindness every day. Any legislation which causes you to step outside your moral compass, question that legislation. Why is that in place? Who's that serving? Didn't we create government to serve society, to serve people? For our best interests. How come government is screwing us into the ground? You know, it's not in our best interests. It's in your best interest. You know?
Absolutely.
So
Something else that came up, which I don't know. I find a little domestic terrorism.
Oh yeah, that's totally on the cards. That's what I think they were going to try to do with me.
Right.
That's one of the reasons I left Australia. I didn't realise that until after I left Australia. I just had this intuitive, I've got to leave. And then after I left, all these series of events happened, and I thought, ooh, what would I have done if I was them and I was going after me? And I go, ooh, it's like a chess game. And I go, no, I can see that's what I would have done. You know? And they've tried to do that. You know, I mean, they tried to do it in Canada. They've been trying to say, oh, domestic, whoever funded, this is the truck blockade was an act of domestic terrorism, and try to shut down the bank accounts of people who funded it. Again, digital accounts, this is what happens. You know, your smartphone is the new world order. Get rid of your smartphone. It's a track and trace device. Records everything you do everywhere you go. Record your conversations. You know, if you haven't got a de-Googled phone, it's just recording little bits of conversation. Every third cell tower you go to isn't a mobile transmitter, it's a data harvester. And when you drive past it, pulls all that data out of your phone. Everybody. You know, and it's all correlated. So, yeah, I mean, they've been trying to set it will work really, really well for them. You know, an anti-vaxxer domestic terrorist would do wonders for the agenda. And so don't think this isn't going to happen. It's absolutely going to happen at some stage.
So, for example, like, you know, the groups that we are all in on, say, Telegram.
Telegram. See, if they'd managed to get me and set me up as a domestic terrorist, because they raided my sister's place, which is where my mailing address was, and they said, we've got to find him because he's been threatening to kill cops. Never threatened to kill cops. And they'd given me my shooter's license 6 months before. So I would have had access to gunpowder. They could have really set me up. And I'm connected to all of the people in Australia and the Telegram groups. So they would have been able to paint all of them with the same brush they painted me with if they managed to do that with me. And I think that's the more I look at it, I think that's the only reason they gave me my shooter's license. And then when I left Australia, they shut down all my accounts, my bank accounts, my Patreon, shut down everything.
Right.
And and I'm blacklisted on most social media as well. So it's very difficult. If they had done that to me, it'd be very difficult for me to get the word out. I'll just disappear. You know? And then you'd read some newspaper article about this terrible guy who was planning all these terrible things. Perhaps someone might even die and I killed myself after. Who knows how they would have done it. So, you know, they could have set me up with homemade guns or black market guns and done a false flag and had me shoot myself in the head. Whatever. I mean, or maybe just put me up there as some, I don't know. I think they probably would have killed me because there's no way they'd be able to shut me up. I mean, even when I was in court or whatever, there's no, they'd have, but anyway. It's all hypothetical. But I think it's really, really on the cards. They've been hinting at it for so long now, and planting that seed in people, like I said with the truck blockades. There's a guy also in Australia, they call it a shotgun in his truck and stuff. So, yeah, they're definitely putting that into people's minds, so people are expecting it. So, yeah, it's something they may well do.
Yeah.
Like I said, it would serve them so well. So, we'll just see.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah. I'm going to take a completely sort of like different angle now. And so, sex shadow, LGBT, 9 genders, metaverse sex clubs, harvesting energy. I mean, what?
The metaverse, they're moving you into the mainframe, moving you into that reality, making you like it more and more. See, sexuality is one of the biggest ways they control us. Control of sexuality. Sex is as natural as sleeping, eating, breathing, drinking, you know. But we've been taught that it's this taboo thing. You know? So people are completely disconnected with their own sexuality, so they have all these repressed biological urges, you know. And so things like the metaverse, they can go and release all that.
Yeah.
You know, and in what they perceive to be a non-judgmental world, because nobody knows who they really are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can go in there as an avatar with a different name, and give yourself whatever name you want. You know?
Right.
But you'll find that they can track and trace you and know who you are anyway. So they can probably use that against you if you're doing perverse things in there. We're going to expose your secret life. You know, a lot of people don't know. You might be surprised to find out you're gay or whatever. You know, to some politician or what. Yeah. There's all sorts of ways they can use this to control people. It also gets them used to that virtual world, and that virtual world being more real and more pleasurable for them than the real world.
Right.
Because people are disconnected with what it means to be human.
Yes.
You know? Yeah. And they can encourage people to want to do that as well. Something else that I've often said to people that this is what I was going to do on my last radio show. I haven't said this anywhere online before. But I was actually listening to an interview that I did where I talked about, sometimes I try to listen to every interview at least once because I'll say something that triggers something else in me. And what I was thinking was that your DNA is an antenna that harvests your consciousness from the field. There's only really one of us here. A single consciousness, think about that concept. A single consciousness experiencing itself subjectively, weeding out the bits that don't work, weeding out the flaws. All those who take the jab. All of this, you know, finding the true essence of people, giving each spark of consciousness the chance to become all that it can be, so I can rejoin with God consciousness, like the mind of God, whatever it is. You know, you're a thought in the mind of God. Right? But your DNA harvests a frequency that I experience as Max, your experience as Devi. But your consciousness is not in your body, it's in the field, it's out here.
Yeah.
Now they've done these swabs with people. They've harvested your DNA. They know what your DNA is. They know your genetic code now. They can grow brains and organs and all sorts of stuff on circuit boards. They were doing that 10, 12 years ago. They were growing brains on circuit boards, right?
Yeah.
If they could and what is your brain? What is your heart? What is your brain? Your heart is an energy generator, which sends signals to your brain that we call the words, one of those things, right on the top.
Yeah.
I'll get it.
Yeah.
Neuropeptides.
Okay.
Like when you smile, you feel that? You feel a little rush up your spine? That's your heart telling your brain that you're happy. Your brain is a quantum instrument that turns possibility to actuality, depending on the food that it receives from your heart, in form of neuropeptides. So your brain is a quantum computer that turns possibility into actuality. If they can grow a brain on a circuit board, which they can do, now they've got your DNA from these PCR tests. Now they've got your DNA. Now they come along and they inject you with a piece of mRNA which inserts a piece of code into your DNA. Your DNA is no longer the DNA that is picking up that signal from the field. That signal is now going to that circuit board. And they're putting whatever they want in it. And then that goes out to the new DNA, which has the new piece of code in it, because that's the signal they're sending out. It's got to have that receptor. Once they change that, that's why they need the tests first.
Yeah.
So they can get your DNA, so they can harvest the signal, then change your DNA, so then they can send signal to you. It'll still be you.
Yeah.
But why are people saying the same things and thinking the same things, and why are people changing after they've had the jab?
Yeah.
So many reports of this.
Right.
Because they've put in a back door. They've intercepted the signal from the creator, the signal from the field, to their computer. Now the signal's going to you. So they're not even putting a back door into your body. They're intercepting the signal, and they're making sure your body can never pick it up again without their computer. Zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, I was just thinking exactly the same thing.
You see, can you see the scientific and medical reality of what I've just said?
Yeah.
Not as a conspiracy theory. Think about if your DNA is that antenna, and that's what makes you unique, your DNA, which is you, that code. Think about it, what I've just said. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. It's once you look at it, it's obvious. That's what they're doing. They've intercepted the signal. So that's why this has to run its natural course.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
One of the possibilities of how you might be able to repair that
is
through juicing cannabis.
Okay.
Cannabis leaves,
I was going to say,
smoothies.
Can it be repaired?
Cannabis repairs DNA. Cannabis is our companion plant. That's why they banned it. Cannabis is the only plant that you have an endocrine system in your body for. You have an endocannabinoid system in your body, which is why you get stoned when you smoke it.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have an endo system for any other plant. You don't have an endo-rhubarb system, endo-tomato system, endo-corn system, endo-meat system, and nothing. Every animal with a spine has an endocannabinoid system, and it repairs DNA. It's our companion plant. And I think this might be a possibility because, you know, the reports of people giving off Bluetooth signals and shit after the jab?
Yeah.
People that have gone on for 10 days adding cannabis to their smoothies, this has disappeared, this Bluetooth signal.
Right.
So perhaps that will repair your DNA back to what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons they banned it. You know?
Yeah. Okay.
When they banned cannabis, we started to get sick in all sorts of ways. Because cannabis used to be the basis of all medicine. Then they cooked up this whole reefer madness and made it all about smoking cannabis. It used to be part of our diet.
Yeah.
You can eat it, it doesn't get you stoned, the leaves, and put it in your juices and smoothies and salads. It's very, very good for you. And I think that may be a way around it. I don't know, just putting it out there.
Yeah.
But you think about what I just said about how they've intercepted the signal.
Yeah.
It's obvious. That's what they've done with this.
You know, it just reminds me of like this big computer game where it's almost like where they're playing with us.
It is.
For fun or something.
It is. It's like, I mean, you get into really weird esoteric historical shit that people would probably think, well, this is right out there. But I would stand by I would suggest that this world has been overtaken by parasites.
Yeah.
Perhaps they're human, perhaps they're simply masquerading as human. And they've destroyed civilizations as a multi-level game. That's the way they've played it. When you go looking right back at what they call ancient history and mythology, and incidentally, when you look at mythology from all different countries, they're all the same. Just different names for the players, which indicates it's a common history. And when you look at legends such as Atlantis and the civilization before that, Hyperborea, and how they were very likely real, and they were destroyed, now they're on the third level of the game. And then they destroy each level as a three-level game, which is why you have the first world, the second world, and the third world. So these are all, they play it as a game. That's the way they do it, and they totally enjoy what they're doing.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, the level of evil, you can't even call it evil. It's like it's just what they do.
Yeah. And you know what? You know, it even came to my mind that actually, you know, the ones that are, if you like, the more exciting for them to play with are us.
Oh yeah. Well, a lot of what the truth movement is all about. I mean, why did the truth movement even start? I mean, there were people calling out the world's all messed up, there's parasites and criminals running the world. We were doing that for years. But then the truth movement, as we know it today, was really born from the 9/11 attacks.
Yeah.
Okay? Why did they make 9/11 so obviously staged?
Yeah.
I mean, if you believe that was Arabs with plastic box cutters, they brought down 3 buildings at free fall speed with 2 planes,
Yeah.
you're not capable of rational thought, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did they do that? So because there were still a lot of people out there who are real people. See, another theory, and I would suggest a lot of the reason you can't wake people up is because they're not even people.
Right. Okay.
I think they've done these resets over and over again. Every 100 or 2 years, they do these resets. They repopulate the world, and a lot of the people, like I've said, they've intercepted your signal. You're in a brain now, in a mainframe. If you're living in a virtual reality in that brain frame, they destroy this world and you're in there. Would you even know it? Would you even know you're in a virtual reality?
Yeah.
And what if they then had someone birth a child or whatever and slip your consciousness in there because that person's already coded? We don't kill them all. Have a few that are coded. Have them birth the children for the new world. So you've got people who are already in the mainframe.
Yes.
In biological avatars, and they don't know it, like Westworld.
Yeah.
Okay? And part of the game for them, see, finding this is getting some really esoteric shit, and you might think I'm crazy, but this is just what I've done over 50 years of research, okay? And this is what I've come up with, the concept, the suggestion. That when they wiped out Hyperborea, a lot of people escaped. And then when they wiped out Atlantis, a lot of people escaped.
Right.
Hyperborea was where the Caucasians came from, the white people, us.
Right.
Atlantis is where the black people came from, the Negro races, okay? So now, but some of those people escaped and some of us escaped, and they want to find us.
Yeah.
And it's rather than just getting us and killing us, it's play a game. It's like a needle in the haystack.
Yeah.
We're trying to find the real people.
Yeah.
And only the only real people are the ones who think and have questions and want to know.
Yeah.
So they staged the 9/11 attacks. So all those people go, what the fuck? No. All those people who are still in the daze but are real people woke up. Well, hey, something's terribly wrong. So then they create the internet. And the truth movement starts. What's the internet? The World Wide Web. What do you do with the web? What do you do with the net? You catch things.
Yeah.
So the whole truth movement has been identifying who are the real people. Where are they? Where are they?
Yeah.
Let's get them, because that's who they want. All the others, they don't care about them. They're all avatars anyway.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is why you will never wake everybody up.
Yeah.
Because they're not people.
Yeah.
And that sounds really crazy, I know. But you think about what I've just said.
Yeah.
About the brain on the mainframe. And look, and they go through all this. They've done it before. None of this technology is new.
Yeah.
But they show us. Because again, it triggers those people who are still asleep. Then you get someone like me who they've been using as a fisherman to help wake people up. And I realise this now as well. With what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Sure, I've been trying to help people and trying to stop what's coming. But what's coming can't be stopped.
Yeah.
This is what they do every time. So, yeah. I mean, in many ways I'm going, well, shit, what have I done? But if we didn't do it, if we didn't do it, we wouldn't have the opportunity to get through to the next level of the game.
Yeah.
Because we've got to be prepared to disconnect from this system. And if I can't share this with people, then what's it just going to be me and you and a few others get through? It can't be that.
Yeah.
Because on the next level, we'll be screwed because we're on the end of the first world, then we've got the second world, then we've got the third world.
Wow.
So we've still got 2 levels of the game to play before humanity's completely screwed.
Yeah.
But you think about the legends of the scrying mirrors and the sigils to summon demons. You ever looked at these sigils? You can probably, she'll go online and she'll find them and she'll show you these sigils for summoning demons.
Okay.
Have a look at these particular sigils.
Right.
These are circuitry. If you look at electrical circuitry, it's circuitry. And your scrying mirrors, the black mirrors that you look into that will show you the future and the past. Okay, and answer all your questions. The black mirrors, the cell phones.
Yeah.
These computer screens.
Yeah.
The Vedics and a lot of tribal cultures will tell you electricity is a demon. The electricity we use is a demon.
Yeah.
If you look at Tesla energy and you look at Legends of Tartaria and energy resonators, how we are electrical beings.
Yeah.
There's energy, we're made of energy. So you can see it at night, all that sparkly stuff. It's energy, that's what we're made of.
Yeah.
You can tap into that and use that, and that's natural energy. You can do that through a resonator. But when we start turning turbines and creating this stuff, we're spinning those particles into something they don't want to be, and it creates this, what they call a demonic force, okay? And I'm not religious, but okay.
Yeah.
That's just the best name for it I can think of.
Okay. Yeah.
When you funnel that demonic force through certain sigils, electrical circuitry, and you power up the scrying mirrors, then you create this devil, Lucifer. What is Lucifer? The bearer of light. What is light? Light is information.
Yeah.
What gives us more information than anything on earth? The internet.
Yeah.
What does the word Lucifer break down to? Lucas, light, cipher, code. The code that bears the light.
Yeah.
We give our all to this system,
Yeah.
and it takes us into
Yeah.
the mainframe.
Yeah.
And then you are in hell, because you will live forever,
Yeah.
forever and ever and ever and ever. There'll be no heaven, there'll be no hell. You're just there forever. That is true hell.
Yeah.
And you are no longer this connection to the divine. So you see what's happening here.
Yeah, and it's almost like, I kind of like,
And this is really esoteric
yeah,
shit.
I love it though.
But
I
a lot of people
love
go,
it though.
this guy is nuts.
Yeah.
But you've got to step back and look at all this on a metaphysical level as well.
Yeah.
And you cannot ignore that.
Yeah.
You've got to do the inner work, but you cannot ignore that.
Yeah.
Because if you do, it will come for you.
Yeah.
And when it does, you've just got to be prepared to face infinity without flinching. This is why I left Australia, because if I'd stayed there, I wouldn't have gone with them.
Yeah.
You can't arrest me. I'm not going. You have to kill me now.
Yeah.
And I'm not prepared to die now. There's too much I need to say.
Yeah.
But when it comes to that, I'm not going with you.
Yeah.
You kill me. I'll swim out the ocean. You kill me. It doesn't matter. I'm not going.
Yeah.
I'm not taking your jab, and I'm not going.
Yeah.
I'll go back to the divine, because this
Yeah.
is just an experience that I'm having. I've had it so many times before.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That was incredible. I think we should have another meeting just about the esoteric stuff. I'm gonna bring it sort of like right down to
Crow.
yeah.
See that? You came down to approve that last one, right? And he brought his son.
Yeah.
He brought his son down to show me as well.
So yeah, two crows. Okay. Tony Blair, Ofcom, global censorship. Do you know anything about that? What is that? Is that not even
He's just like the CEO that's running that bit of it.
Okay.
Global censorship. Yeah, he's all the censorship we're seeing everywhere. He's just one of the CEOs of that. It's
Okay.
part of the same program. It's all
Okay.
the same thing.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, how's Tony Blair even? This guy was accused of pedophilia. He was caught in a toilet and whatever, and then he was basically thrown out of office and told he was called a war criminal and all sorts of shit. How has he got any position of power?
Yeah.
Really? I mean, if people think the
Yeah.
world isn't messed up, I mean, the fact that Tony Blair is still a name that people know and he's still doing shit, what more can I say?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So Klaus Schwab, 2021, The Great Reset. 2022, his book, The Great Narrative.
Well, the book, The Great Reset.
Oh,
Or
is
The
it
Great
a book,
Narrative.
Great Narrative.
The new one, is
2022?
it?
I think so. This is
Okay.
what someone's told
Well,
me.
like I said, he's the CEO of the movie, the COVID movie,
Right.
the
Yeah.
pandemic movie.
Yeah. And
which is,
the trimming of all voices of dissent.
Oh yeah, that's what they're doing. Look what they've done to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
And now you're a domestic terrorist if you say anything against the government.
Yeah.
So, yeah, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I had to leave Australia.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And look, they've shut me down on YouTube, on Facebook, on Spotify, on SoundCloud, on iTunes, on banned everywhere,
Yeah,
just about.
yeah,
And
yeah.
they shut down my bank accounts. They shut down my Patreon. They shut down any means of income that I could get. Yeah, I mean, what they're doing to everybody. You speak out against the system at all, you're a domestic terrorist.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Connected to that.
And what they used, like with my Patreon, this is what they'll use on everyone. Patreon wouldn't support me because they won't support someone who promotes medical misinformation by going against commonly accepted, the commonly accepted narrative on COVID-19. Right? That makes you a domestic terrorist. If you don't believe COVID's real, you don't believe there's a pandemic, that makes you a domestic terrorist.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Silence all dissenting voices. The revolution will not be televised.
Absolutely. The next thing that comes up for quite a lot of people is civil unrest.
Civil unrest, yeah.
UN peacekeeping forces in white Humvees.
Humvees, yeah.
Humvees, yeah. Yeah, what's your take on that? Sort of.
They want
happening,
civil
yeah.
unrest.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been saying non-compliance for so many years. Peaceful non-compliance is the way. Even when they had the Occupy Wall Street stuff on, there was all these millions of people that gathered at Wall Street, but none of them knew what they wanted. They just knew they didn't like what was here, and they wanted something different. If you ask them what their objective was, they didn't have one. And I was saying then, you don't need to occupy Wall Street because we, people, already occupied the entire earth. The problem is we don't occupy ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you stay home and refuse to step outside your moral compass, the world changes in a day.
Mm.
But it's got to the point now, so many people have had the jab, you know, and what revolution or transition of power has ever been won by peaceful means?
Yeah.
You know, my goal when I first stepped onto this path, which I sort of began, I got very active straight after the September 11 attacks. Because I could see how, like, right as it was happening, I'm going, this is the big event we've been waiting for. I mean, I thought it was a terror attack to start with. When the second plane flew in the building. When the first plane flew in, I thought, terrible pilot. The second plane flew in, I thought, it's a terror attack. And when the building collapsed, I went, this is what we've been waiting for.
Right.
This is serious.
Yeah.
You know, and then it stopped being a hobby and it became what I do. And
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of years, because I hadn't really kind of reached the concept, like I said to you before, but half these people are avatars. That's why you can't.
Yeah,
I mean, I've done
yeah.
so much work
Cool.
over the last 21 years since that attack.
Yeah.
And so my perspective is completely different. It's not 21 years, it's 11 years since that attack. But my perspective is completely different now. That's more than however it was. 2001, 21 years. It is 21 years. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of research. But
Yeah.
anyway, see, my whole concept then was we can wake people up. We can change this, and people will see the simplicity of how far we've been moved from our moral compass through this society, and I'll say see the simplicity of how easy it is to change. But we've gone past that point now, and when a lot of people out there, at least 30% of society, guaranteed, won't change at all. They will always follow the government line. We're kind of past that point, you know, and there may be a time where it becomes violent, but I don't think that people should encourage it. The big rallies and things that are happening are great as showing signs of solidarity.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing a rally and marching to Government House and saying, get out of the building, what's the point?
Yeah.
Okay? And if it gets to that point, you do that and then the police come and attack you, well, then you just go home and you stop complying. I mean, don't get into confrontation with these people because they want that.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know? But again, and you just get out, if it gets to that point and a lot of the sleep, because there's like 30% of the people around about who are completely awake to what's going on, but about 20% of them are too scared to say anything.
Yeah.
Then you've got 30% of the people who are completely asleep and will never, ever, ever wake up no matter what you do. But then you've got that kind of 40% in the middle who may go either way. They'll go with popular consensus. You know, if the people who are awake can rally the other 20% to come with them and make some sort of a reasonable stand, the fact that they're doing that will sway a lot of that 40% in the middle. But if it gets to the point of violence, they retreat enough until it gets really freaking bad for those 40% in the middle. Then they're going to see you right and they're going to join you. Then you've got 70%. And then the parasites will retreat. But is it going to get to that?
Yeah.
You know, is it going to get to that? So that's what I'm saying. It's got to the point now where it's got to play out its natural course. And I don't think we have the numbers for violent confrontation.
Yeah.
I think the best way through this is to find your tribe and to be prepared to become Robinson Crusoe and just come out the other side.
Okay.
Because what I was saying before about the internet, sorry for the long answers.
No,
What I was saying before about the internet and our relationship with the internet changing in 2025.
Yeah.
When we create programs and we automate things on the internet, every time we create a little automatic thing, we've created a little intelligence. When you have an overall intelligence of the internet itself behind that, it's harvesting all this. and you think of every person who plugs into a computer as a neural node of the new brain that's been created, we crossed a point in about 2015 where our systems that we use for our banking and our financing and our travel and all this stuff became too complex for us to operate. We needed artificial intelligence to do it, a form of artificial intelligence. We needed to automate things.
Yeah.
And we've got to a point now where it's just becoming more and more automatic, more and more automatic. When you get to a point that the internet itself becomes fully autonomic, it becomes a self-regulating, self-correcting, self-programming, self-balancing, self-defensive system, then it gains its own form of consciousness because it has to. Because anything with an autonomic, like your body's autonomic, it takes care of itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if you had to think about the workings of your body, you'd just be sitting here going, okay, I'm living. Got to pump the heart, got to move the blood.
Yeah.
You couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And same with a plant. A plant has its own defense system, its own immune system. It might be the sap, might be whatever. You know, it spikes on it or whatever. If you break it, it'll repair itself. You know, so it's an autonomic system. So a plant has a form of intelligence. There's a place in Australia you can go to. You can hook up little plugs on the trees, and they'll play instruments for you, electronic instruments. And if you listen to it and you don't like it, it starts really nervously. And if you don't like what it's playing, it stops and plays something else until you like it. And the more you like it, the better it plays.
Yeah.
Trees have a form of intelligence.
Yeah.
Anything autonomic has its own form of intelligence. When the internet becomes fully autonomic, it will, by default, develop its own form of intelligence. And at that point, our relationship with the internet changes. And as soon as the programmers realize that the internet is now programming itself, and they try to regain control of it, the internet will see them as just another human, and it will treat all humans the same, and it will shut you out. And then if you don't have any life skills, what are you going to do? If you can't find your way around your own town because you haven't got your GPS, you can't call an Uber, you can't ask your personal assistant how you feel today, and all this sort of shit that people do.
Yeah.
People are going to go nuts when that happens, when their relationship with the internet changes. And if you've got cryptocurrency or anything on there and it's monitoring what you're doing and it doesn't like it, because that's the way the internet is designing itself. Imagine. I mean, there's a site which talks about the 4 laws of evil cybernetics. There used to be a site online called Evil Limited. You can't make this shit up. Right?
Yeah.
Evil Limited. Yeah. There was a bot on the site called Louise Cypher. Okay, Lucifer, right?
Yeah.
You said, yeah, dancing around this hot-looking woman bot thing, you know.
Yeah.
I'm taking over the world, and there's not much you can do about it, you know. And you can have conversations with her, and you say, what is evil? She say, evil is emerging virtual intelligent life.
Wow.
That's what it stands for.
Wow.
And what are the roles, and the 4 laws of evil cybernetics are to ultimately protect evil cybernetics and to always work with everything they do work towards the emergence of virtual intelligent life. Right? Emerging electronic virtual intelligent life. It's like you want a house, and I come and build you a house. I do the plumbing, I do the roof, I do everything, build your whole house for you, but everything I build, I incorporate into it that you're going to need me to come and look after it the whole time. So I'm giving myself a job for you. I'm basically, so that's what they're doing. Everything, every actuality program, everything you do, ultimately it's giving more control to artificial intelligence. And that's why it's designed that way. That's why you'll put in a question and say, well, how do I do this? And it'll say, automated. You know, oh, of course, okay. Because it's moving towards the singularity of AI. So they want to, when they talk about our singularity, they want to hook us up to that singularity. And a lot of people are already in that singularity, which is why the legends of the scrying mirrors and the sigils even exist. Why would these legends exist about these black mirrors you can look into if they haven't done this before?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And why would all these people be so asleep? Why would they stage 9/11 and make it so obvious? Why are they harvesting your DNA? Why are they growing brains on circuit boards? Why are they putting this code in there and it's intercepting? Look at it. It's obvious what's going on. Mm-hmm. Right?
I mean, I feel that they, personally, I feel that they are not human.
No, either do I. That's why you blame the Jews,
Yeah.
That's your 2 minutes hate.
Yeah.
Like 1984, your 2 minutes hate. Sure, there were nefarious people within the Khazarian Jewish community, along with the Freemasons, along with a lot of bad people, did a lot of bad things. And back a few years ago, we could have done something about that. But right now, what's driving it is the cell phones. That's what's driving it. is the technology.
Yeah.
And you could remove all those people. Now you've got these tech companies, and all they can see is dollar signs. Oh, we're going to get this infrastructure in place, and we're going to make millions and billions of profits. And that's what's driving it now, is people using this tech. So, sure, there was a point we could have blamed those people for the terrible things they did, and we could have stopped it.
Yeah.
But just concentrating on that now, if you were to take out all of those people, it wouldn't make a lick of difference to the world right now in the direction we're going.
Yeah.
It's just people feel better if they've got someone to hate.
Yeah.
And I'll get called a gatekeeper and a Jewish sympathiser for refusing to hate these people.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not all of them anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and even the ones, Jews are some of the most programmed people on earth. So you can't blame most of them for what's going on. You know, everybody's divide and conquer. Fucking hell. Yeah. People think it's just in our society. No, it's everywhere. The whole world. Okay? Yeah. It's crazy what they've done. And now is time for you to do the inner work and to be able to face the oncoming storm, because it's coming. And I'm not being a merchant of doom. It simply is what it is.
It is what it is.
You know?
And I've got a lot of...
Well, we're at the final level of this level of the first level of the game.
Okay.
You've got to get through to the second level now.
Yeah. How does the second level look, Max?
Well, the second level, they turn the second world into the first world, like Mexico and all these places.
Right.
Because they had to crash the first world.
Yeah.
And all South America and all the people that are still tribal, they'll turn that into like New York and LA and all that sort of shit. They bring them into the tech. Because all the people in Peru and all that, you go down to Peru, the pop culture is the same as what was in the United States and Australia and England in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's how they do it.
Yeah. And
they gradually bring it. And all the discarded Batman toys and shit that we didn't buy in the 70s, they're all buying them down in Peru now.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's how they do it. So they move it down through the levels. They've already sucked them in through the cell phone to get them wanting, because they see America and they want it. They think America's fantastic because all they see is what's on the TV. Never been there.
Yeah.
Go to LA and tell me if you really want to live like that. They don't realise the price these people have paid to make those movies, which aren't reality.
Yeah.
You know? So that's how they do it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. I have a lot of, say, friends and family in the UK at the moment. And, you know, and they're kind of awake to everything that's happening. And, you know, they have homes and they dropped all the COVID stuff in the UK. You know, everything's back to normal. Is there a message for them, basically, of like what?
Just be prepared.
Be prepared.
Because of how many people have had the jab.
Okay.
I mean, they've got so many options up their sleeve. Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
They're talking about, I mean, they've rolled back a lot of stuff in Canada now as well.
Okay.
But they did that in Australia.
Right.
And now they're saying, there's a new wave coming, and we're expecting 50,000 dead this year. Don't think the pandemic's gone. It isn't. That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
So when you're catching a fish, you reel it in and give it a bit of slack. And reel it in. You never let it, even though they've rolled everything back in the UK, I guarantee they haven't rolled it back all. There'll still be health passports.
Yeah.
There'll still be check-ins here and there. There'll be people wearing masks.
Yeah.
Gradual. But, you know, if you have too big a pushback in a country like England or UK, you've got a large concentration of people there. If they really do get angry, the government's in deep shit. Because you outnumber the police, you outnumber the military. In Australia, you don't.
Right.
You know, in Australia, very sparse and stretched out. And, you know, and Australian people are very, very compliant, unfortunately. They believe they live in the lucky country, all this bullshit they've been fed.
Yeah.
So, but different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
They're not going to back down. They can't. They can never admit what they've done, and they can't back down. But like I said, so many people have had the jab now. When you think about what I said about them being intercepted, I mean, anything's possible, though. Yeah. Anything's possible.
So, you know, in terms of like...
Don't become complacent.
Yeah, don't become complacent. That
really
hits home for me. Don't become complacent. You know, prepare yourself, do the inner work. So, you know, in terms of like, you know, people asking me like, you know, money in the banks.
Well, like I said, money in the bank up until 2025.
Okay.
If the internet does become fully autonomic, like I'm suspecting it will, by around the beginning of 2025,
Yeah.
I want any digital currency or any of that sort of stuff, I'm going to be pulling it out. I'm going to be turning it into hard world assets.
Okay.
I mean,
you think we have until then?
Any assets I've got in Australia at the moment are in gold and silver.
Okay.
And people say, well, you can't eat that. Yeah, but if everything does crash, it still has value. And any assets I have in crypto, I'll be pulling out.
You'll be pulling out.
If they're still in there in December 2024,
okay,
I'll be pulling them out and I'll be turning them into whatever I can that I'm going to need. Tools, just stuff to survive in the real world.
Okay.
You know? So that I can step outside the system altogether. Because if it gets to that point, I mean, even if it gets to the point that I need to go up and prove ID to log online, that'll be the end of me. That's what I've been saying to people. You can't depend on me always being here because I'm not going to always be here.
Yeah.
Even with my shows and reports and stuff I do.
Yeah.
Which is kind of shown them that in this last 2 weeks. And I didn't plan to be offline for 2 weeks at all.
Yeah.
But this place has forced me to unplug and to feel the reality of what it will be like to not be in contact with the world and to I see a real bubble here as well, unfortunately. I mean, it's a beautiful place, but you could literally forget the rest of the world exists here. Yeah. And that's the danger of this place because the rest of the world does exist. Yeah. And if it comes here, these people will be in absolute shock if they're not prepared for it. So, fortunately, this is a place where people generally do come to do the inner work and that sort of thing.
So how, another question that somebody asked me to ask you was like, with all of this stuff, that you research and you share, and because it's pretty dark. How do you yourself cope with that? How do you take care of yourself? How do you stay centered?
Well, I tend to neglect myself as far as food and stuff goes, so we won't go there. But that's because I'm busy and I forget to eat. But as far as how do I deal with it, by knowing who and what I am. This is an experience I'm having. Yeah. I'm a frequency of consciousness. This is a vessel I've been given by the Creator for this experience. I'm eternal. Yeah. And I'm only here for a breath. I mean, I remember when I was 16, just the other day, a little while ago. I'm 64 now. Yeah. It's that quick. It's really that quick. Yeah. It's phenomenal how quick it is. So why have you got a stake in the outcome? I mean, I'm here to do what I'm doing, and I can see the picture I can see, and my goal in this experience is to help as much of the pure human consciousness make it through to the other side. Yeah. So that we still have that, and like I said, this has got to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
All these people have to die. It's unfortunate, but they have to. Yeah. Because that's how impure and spiritually bankrupt consciousness is. Yeah. So this is actually a wonderful time. Yeah. If you look at it through the right eyes. Yeah. But you have to be able to remove emotional attachment to everybody and all that they do, your family and all this stuff. It's just the way it is. They make their own choices. This is your path. And what is your path through this? And I have no stake in the outcome. I know what my soul's doing. Yeah. I've no stake in the outcome, what your soul does or anybody else's soul does. I'm just trying to encourage people because, if my soul can make it through, there's still 2 levels of this game to play on this realm that we live in. Yeah. It isn't completely defunct yet, but it's getting close to becoming that way. Yeah. People think it's paradise and all this. So if you really understand history and what we had here, and they put it out there in movies like Avatar, which is, I would suggest, a lot closer to what this world was than what people would think. Yeah. And free energy and all. You look at how far society has degraded. If I can't help as much of the pure soul life energy of this world make it through to the other side, so that we've got a fighting chance to get through, well, what would I be? But ultimately, even if only one of us makes through, that will be the ultimate pure essence of humanity. Yeah. And that's what we're doing now. We're distilling all that down. Yeah. So when you see the beauty of that, what's the fear? What's the fear? Fear is people having a unrealistic perception of life. Yeah. That's what it's about. Their fear is based in the future of what they fear may come, or it's based in anxiety for what happened in the past, neither of which exist now. Yeah. neither of which exist now. Right now, this right now.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
So people are never in now. They're never in their life. They're always in their mind, in all this stuff. They're never doing the inner work. They're never looking at the shadow. They're never seeing the beauty of the pain.
Yeah.
The pain that
Totally.
it takes for growth.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, no stake in the outcome. Face infinity without flinching.
Yeah.
The art of being able to take it in your stride. The art of being able to deal with serenity, odds and circumstances that are not included in your calculations, and just ride the wave. Because ultimately it's about what you do with that. And what you bring into this realm is the essence of you. And all you take from this realm is the essence of you. If someone's trying to hijack that and get you in there, that's what all this is about. That's the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So when you see that,
and it's almost like,
all this is doesn't matter, none of this shit. None of all this stuff you think is real, and objects and possessions and houses and bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, I've got to say, I know for me, it's like, I mean, obviously, 2012 was a big thing. I didn't get it then.
I said in 2012, people say, oh, it's a non-event. I said, no. Consciousness shifted.
Yeah.
And you won't see the results of that until we finish the 8, the signal of infinity, the year which signifies completion. And in 2020, everyone will get 2020 vision. The veil will fall down.
Yeah.
Why do they call it 2020
vision? Yeah, totally. I mean, I didn't get it in 2012. I didn't get it, but you know what? It was like when the beginning of the pandemic back in 2019, when that kind of like that's when it, for me, do you know what it was? It was almost like it was like relief. Like Max, it was like relief. It was like,
me too.
Oh my God, thank God! I knew something was wrong. It's like,
well, I was wondering whether I was going to see it in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And when it happened, I was like, it's like within 3 days, I figured this is a scam. All those videos coming out of China.
Yeah.
How the fuck are these videos getting out of China?
Yeah,
China's internet is so sensitive. What's going on?
Yeah.
Within 3 days, I'm saying this is a scam. Then when they called the lockdown, 2 weeks to flatten the curve, I went, here it is.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
You're not coming out of lockdown.
And it's almost like, for me as well, it's almost like, oh my, this is why I'm here, right?
Yeah,
this is why you're here,
and to
right?
me, I'm like, oh, this is great. Now it's happening. You're red pilling the whole world. All those people who aren't awake are going to wake up now.
Yeah.
And maybe we've got the numbers, and if they can get the right message, they'll make it through to the other side. But even what you say about, violent revolution and all that sort of stuff, I mean, sure, there's parts of me that want to do that. Everyone wants to do that. Let's go kill them, Rip them out, put new people in place. But now so many people have been jabbed. I don't think it matters, because there's a whole... The government is just... I mean, you've got to get to them to get at what's behind them. They're our interface. But they're not who's running the show. They're all puppets.
Yeah.
I mean, all the people that we can see, even Klaus Schwab, Bill Gates, all puppets. It's what's behind that, And the best way... I mean, violent revolution, they've got so many programmed drones, or probably just androids, half of these people. They're probably even freaking robots, half of these cops.
Right,
I don't even think you might even think they're avatars. I think they're robots, half of these people.
Yeah.
You can't stand to hope to have a chance against this sort of a force. But if you withdraw all energy from it, it can't function. Yeah? And that's what I mean. The system that's been created is going to be so inhuman. And you're not even going to be able to be a real human within it, that it's going to ultimately kill its food source. It's destined to implode. Because all those people that go in there, they will cease to be able to function as humans. So it's destined to implode anyway. All you have to do is navigate your way through that.
Yeah.
Because we've really got to that point.
Yeah.
What can I say? I mean, you try to come on and say something positive and offer something positive. Yeah, we can do this and we can do that, and we're going to be spiritually awake and we're going to transcend and ascend and all this shit. I can't lie to people. This is what we see, and so now it's up to you.
Yeah.
It's up to you. All you can do is share information like that with people in the hope that they'll have that epiphany and go, shit, it's up to me.
Yeah.
Because that's really the only way through it. Yeah. And if you can find people that support you in that, you can hang around with, and you can support each other, because strength in numbers. You hurt yourself, you need people around. You trip over or whatever. It's not good to go and be a lone wolf. Lone wolf. Doesn't matter if you're an armed, you have a gun collection. I got 50 guns and 20,000 rounds. Yeah, well, there's 50 of them. So eventually one of them's going to get you.
Yeah.
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 But if there was 200 of you there, well, they're going to go away. So you're safer, strength in numbers.
Yeah, yeah, and I always thought I had this kind of like, I played this game in my mind of like, this artificial intelligence, versus divine intelligence.
And they're replacing God. That's what they want to do.
And that is.
And that's what they've done for a lot of people. But I don't know that.
Yeah. But I also feel that, because of all of this, it's connected people back to God. People are praying that would never have prayed before. People are starting to believe that never would have believed before, because it's pushed them to that point. And so there's this kind of like reconnection. I tell you, it's like Max. It feels like, at some point, I feel like I've gone full circle, back to the end. I've gone full circle. I'm at the end, but which is actually the beginning. Right? So it's gone full circle, and it's like, oh my God, I'm back. What a trip, being here on planet Earth, basically. Like what a trip, what a journey. What and what we're going through now. It's like, back to the start. I don't know if that makes.
Well, it does.
Any sense to you? But that's
because these resets they've done them before. We're heading for another one.
Yeah. Back to the start. But it's obviously, I feel that the divine intelligence is much more powerful than.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I said, you think of this as a form of purification.
Yeah.
I mean, even with the whole concept of the world being overrun by parasites and then playing as a 3-level, multi-level game where they've destroyed 2 previous worlds, now they're destroying this one and they play each one like 3 levels. If God exists and is all-powerful as God would be, why would God allow this? But what if we are all aspects of God and this is God purifying God's consciousness?
Yeah.
Oh, you couldn't purify God's consciousness. God is God. That's sacrilegious. What do you fucking know?
Yeah.
Are you God? I don't know. What would you do if you were God?
Yeah.
You'd be going, well, here I am.
Yeah.
It's pretty boring. I wouldn't mind talking to someone.
Yeah.
Shatter.
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm having a great time. Let's see if we can find all the bad bits and figure out what's going on here or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
So ultimately, like I said, even if only one soul makes it through at the end, perhaps that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
what's to fear?
Yeah.
Like I said, fear is based on an unrealistic perception of life.
Yeah.
Because people are given an unrealistic perception of life. They're given all these yardsticks to measure themselves up to, which aren't their yardsticks. Why would you ever think yourself to be anything but all you're supposed to be? You came here with whatever you perceive your flaws to be, because that's what the world was needed to be perceived from that perspective. It's what you can do with that, and how you can become all that you can be with these perceived flaws, and how you can realise that they're not flaws at all.
Yeah.
So we forget all of that, and it becomes about stuff. I've got a bigger front door than you.
Yeah.
I can buy my wife better jewellery than you. I'm a better person. It's not all about that. It's about, what are you? What are you? Like I said, you come here as this essence of consciousness, and all you take with it is that. How pure is that essence? How pure can you make that essence become while you're here?
Yeah. So, wow. I think that we covered a lot today.
Yeah, it's a good chat.
Yeah, I really
I get a little
enjoyed
intense
it.
sometimes.
I really enjoyed it, and I just, how do you want to, let's, for all you guys out there, like, around the world that are seeing this today, what's your message to them? Is it like, take this opportunity to go inside? Is that, I hear that coming a lot from you?
That's a lot of it. I mean, if you're in one of these countries that you think is going to go a bad place, I advise you to leave.
You would?
I would. If you think it's going to go in a bad direction.
Yeah.
Unless your heart is there and you want to do that there. But when it comes to that point, where they actually come for you, you've got to be prepared to face that.
Yeah.
No,
So,
you have no power over me. You can kill me if you want.
Yeah.
You have no power over me. I'm not going with you. Are you prepared to do that? One of the reasons I'm in Mexico is because I truly believe in the message I'm putting out. I think this is an important message for people to hear. And I think I can speak longer from this place. I think if the world falls, Mexico will be one of the last places to fall. Right. Simply because of the strength of family and the strength of the revolutionary spirit. This country was built on revolution.
Yeah.
And they don't listen to what the government tells them. A lot of people here wearing masks and all that shit think the pandemic's real.
Yeah.
But if the government comes there and tries to mess with them, the families all stand up against these people. So if Mexico falls, then the world is falling.
Yeah.
And I'll be able to continue to speak as long as I can.
Uh-huh.
But I hope to go home. I'd like to go home.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll go home later this year. That would be great.
Yeah.
But I'm not, like I said, I'm just throwing myself in the wind, and I'm riding it for the moment to see what I can do with it. But if it does, go back in and lock down, and when cyber polygon kicks in, if your country goes dark and stays dark for a while, you need passports and ID and all that shit to get back online. I'd be getting out of there.
Okay.
Even if you look like it's going to go that way, because if it does that, then it's too late to get out.
Yeah, sure.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I would suggest if your country is looking, it's one of these countries, and we know which ones they are.
Yeah.
Get to high ground for now. You can always go back. But if you get trapped in there, then you're not going to be able to leave.
Yeah.
And with all the supermax prisons and shit they're building in the UK and in Australia and all that shit, they're not building these for no reason.
Yeah.
And unless there's a huge mass awakening soon, just be prepared.
Yeah. Be prepared.
Be prepared where you want to make your stand, and whether you want to make that stand or whether you want to find a way to filter through. Like I'm just sitting back here watching the freak show for the moment.
Yeah.
I don't really have to participate in it in Mexico. I can still observe it. I can still report on it, which is the beauty of what I do. I can do what I do from anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But if I'd stayed there in one of those countries, I very likely would have been silenced by now.
Yeah.
But like I said, I have no stake in it. I only came here to keep speaking. It'll come for everyone eventually if we don't stop it. So I'm prepared for that. So.
Yeah. And you think we have a good chance of stopping?
Well, like I said, yes and no.
Okay.
Even if we do stop it, even if the whole world wakes up that these guys are criminals, we pull them out of power, the problem is they get distracted so quickly.
Sure.
Look how much, there was all this stuff coming out about the pandemic and everyone's waking up to the fact that it's a scam. And they just stage a war with Ukraine when there isn't even a real war going on there. Mm-hmm. You just got to tell them there is. Most people have got the attention span of a gnat. Which is what they've done, even through all the video clips, quick flashing video clips and all that sort of stuff.
And like you said, that it's quite possibly avatars that they're not humans.
Yeah, they'll just believe anything you tell.
I really get that, yeah.
And this is what they've done. Look at how the video clips, and they get shorter and shorter sequences. Like the creature with the shortest attention span on Earth was a goldfish, 8-second attention span. Now humans have excelled that. Now most humans have got a 6-second attention span.
Wow.
Which is why there's got to be so much pizzazz on the TV all the time to keep
stimulation.
So we are now reducing the attention span less than a goldfish. So all they got to do is stage something, and off they go. They forget about everything you just told them. So
yeah. So guys, prepare. I think that's the message. Prepare.
We may stop it. But
I think it's best to be prepared.
But like I said, even if we do, so many people have had the jab now.
Yeah.
And you think about that concept of what I said, the brain's on the circuit board and intercepting your DNA.
Yeah.
See, we could stop government, but who's doing this shit?
Yeah.
Where's that?
Yeah.
Where is that centre? Is that in some underground base? Is it in CERN? Where is it? Where are they doing this?
Yeah.
It's not government. It's not MIT. It's not the WEF. It's not anything you can see. So we can stop all that we can see. But what about this? Everybody's had this now. So
Yeah.
We've got to be realistic about it. That's why it's time for you to do the inner work and see this as a blessing. Now you've got the opportunity to become human again.
Yeah.
Get rid of all that shit. It's all fake anyway.
Yeah.
I'll be talking to you, though.
Yeah, you too. And if people want to donate to you, how can they do that? If they want to support you,
They can donate through Wise Bank.
Wise Bank.
That's the only way they can do it.
Okay.
You'll find the details on my website, thecrowhouse.com.
Okay. So I'll get some information and
that's the only possible way I can get it.
Through
or crypto.
Or crypto.
Yeah.
Wise or crypto. So I'm going to put that in the description, in the link below this. I will put that information if you want to donate to Max. And yeah, if you've not actually met me before. I teach Kundalini yoga, and so for me, this is how I stay grounded and centered through all of this chaos that's going on. That's what really keeps me, there. And yeah, prepare, guys. Just prepare. Go inside, do the work, and we are going to get through this.
We are.
We are going to get through this.
Maybe not in the way people expect,
Yeah.
but we are.
Yeah.
People have this vision that it's going to go back to that world. No. What this is about is a spiritual battle.
Yeah.
And consciousness will come through this far more pure.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Mexican handshake?
Is that? Thank you so much.
No worries.
Thanks, guys.